we're going to talk about Hawaii. This is from 6 months ago. This is quite literally the reason why, it's not even a joke, that the new conspiracy theory in Hawaii isn't necessarily that, a wildfire occurred and there were 80-mile winds due to a hurricane, and there's incredibly dry vegetation due to the natural the natural grass that originally grew in the region was swapped out with vegetation that actually cannot withstand the temperatures and the sunlight and becomes much drier, which created this circumstance, which was like a tinderbox. None of that is real. It's not Jewish space lasers. It's Chinese space lasers. That's right. Yeah, they didn't rake the leaves in Hawaii, and also it's the Chinese that stopped the raking of the leaves in Hawaii. You think I'm joking, and obviously I don't believe any of this, but a lot of people do believe this, for the record. There are numerous different conspiracy theories revolving the Maui disaster, the Lahaina disaster at this very moment. First, I'm going to give you an update on what's going on. It is now the deadliest in modern U.S. history, the Maui wildfires. I believe the latest count, at least when I started, was at 93. There are still thousands of people who are not accounted for. It is a horrifying situation. Let me see which one I have already donated personally, but we put donation links on my video, on my coverage of the Hawaii disaster. An uncomfortable number of native Hawaiians are now buying into the directed energy weapon conspiracy now. It's so fucking sad. I can see that. Why? Because the reality is banal, boring, and yet just as evil. Okay? But boring evil is hard to explain. Okay? 1, sometimes awful things happen for no particular reason. 2, sometimes awful things are slated to happen, and yet we accelerate the likelihood of it happening or the devastation it causes, anthropogenic climate change. Okay? Describing that takes a lot of time and effort. However, saying it's actually a fucking space laser that zapped Hawaii, it's a space laser that zapped Hawaii like Dim Tool is saying over here. Okay? That's easy. That's easy to say. Plus, there's also a leftist conspiracy that you can tie it to, because you can say what will likely happen in Hawaii in the aftermath of this, which is developers will come in and they will rebuild and they will displace more native Hawaiians living in the area, especially this historic location that, as far as I understand it, didn't have beaches that were just as viable as other spots in Hawaii, but they'll take that. So, like, that's already going to happen. And if you're Hawaiian, if you are a native, if you're a resident of Hawaii, you already know, you've seen it. You've seen that happen all the time. So that makes sense, right? That fucking makes sense. Now, the second part of that conspiracy is real. Yeah, shouts out to Shock Doctrine. Shouts out to Naomi Klein. I mean, she's written about this extensively. She wrote about this in specifically in regards to Puerto Rico. Okay. The notion that every natural disaster is a wonderful opportunity for people like venture capital or vulturous predatory capitalists to come in and turn profit is real. It's a very real thing that happens. Do you get it? Disaster capitalism is very real. So if you have experienced some of it, if you know that it's happening, then you are way more susceptible to believing the conspiratorial component because you've already experienced it. Yeah, it's an opportunity for finance capital to exercise itself domestically. Yep. Never let a good disaster go to waste. Yep. So now, all of a sudden, you have a very real thing that is going to happen in the aftermath of these wildfires, and you tie that to why, like a sexy way to describe why the wildfires happen that is easy to understand, not as convoluted or complicated like describing natural disasters and the exacerbation of their magnitude and their frequency, right? And then that's it. People believe it. That's how you move away. If you desperately, in liberal media, move away from a materialist understanding of the world, you ultimately are opening up avenues for conspiratorial-minded people to get in and put puzzle pieces together. Do you get it? Do you understand?